Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last lesson, we start to work on the editing portal part, and we established the folder structure and add some dependencies from Angular material. And today we'll continue to add more stuff. Specifically, we'll be adding the navigation bar component. Okay. So first off, we'll bring up your Sublime text editor, and let's open the index.html file, which will be in the source folder, which is, let's see, here, index.html. Within the body tag, we need to add a class name called mat-app-background. So this is for the usage of Angular material framework. If you don't add this class, you might see some weird things going on. All right. So right now we can still see our app works, and that's basically from our app.component.html. We have a title here, and this title is getting a expression value with this double curly braces. So this title is a parameter or variable in this case, and the value actually is defined in the app.component.ts file, and we have title equals to appworks. All right. And if we do some little test here, let's say we add a button, and we're gonna put it as md equals to material design. All right. And the class name as primary. Oops. And the button text will be title, and you save, and you can see things changed. So material design come into play. All right. So everything is just automatically refreshed after you save. That's because if you look at the terminal where we start Angular, it's basically just watching. It's basically checking the current status of your code. If you get updated, it will automatically refresh stuff. For example, if we delete this title and save, see it's compiled automatically and the page got refreshed. But sometimes you do need to manually refresh because it's still a tool under development. You'll get stuck in a weird state, and in this case you need to manually refresh. Okay, so this has been looking good so far. And then bring up your terminal, come back to our folder. We're gonna go to source, and app. We're gonna create a new component within this folder structure. So basically this is under app folder. We're gonna create a new folder called components, and we're gonna go to that components folder, and we're gonna type a command called eng -g component. So this is basically using a Angular CLI tool to generate a component, and we're gonna call this component nav-bar. Enter. So Angular CLI tool basically help us to create four files: CSS file, HTML, and the TS file, and the spec.ts file. So mainly we'll be working on the TS file and HTML, and occasionally CSS file, and this spec.ts, we don't need to worry about that. Okay. Also, as you can see, we have updated the app.module.ts. If you remember in the last lesson, I mentioned that file, the app.module.ts file, is basically a overall file managing all the components and services in our project. Okay, so if we go to take a look at the folder, first we have the components folder added, right? And within this folder we have the navigation bar folder. Within navigation bar we have 4 files generated. So you can see everything is well structured automatically as long as you are using this Angular CLI tool. Okay, you have to go to the components and then generate the component. And that component will be residing in the current folder level. And also, the app.module.ts file will get updated. Specifically, you'll see this import statement to import navigation bar component from the navigation bar component.ts file. So Angular knows this is a TS file, so .ts is basically omitted. And after import, you need to declare the module, the component within this declaration part. As you can see, we have the Nav Bar Component declared. Another interesting thing is, whenever you generate a component, if you use lowercase like this, okay, it will be automatically recognized by the CLI tool, and it will name the major component name as uppercase N, uppercase B, basically it's initials, component like this. And that's the same name as in this navigation bar component.ts file where you export the class as this name. Okay, this is how you deal with import and export. You are actually using the class name instead of the file name. All right. And since we have the component generated, as you can see, the HTML content for this component is the navigation bar works. And let's come back to our page. It looks like it doesn't get refreshed. Where is that text navigation bar works? Okay, it looks like that component is still not connected to our major component. So let's talk a little bit about modular design in Angular 2. So by the time when Angular 2 team is developing the platform, the Angular 2 framework, they possess a modular design mind that whenever you have a project, right, we need to deal with complexity. And one way to attack the complexity is make it structured, well structured. And if we can put everything into modules, like bigger modules, smaller modules, and then things will be, in a better way, well organized. Easier to management, easier to be managed, basically. So what this means is that in Angular 2 projects, every time you'll be starting from a basic module or the root module. So this is something that's created automatically by the CLI tool, and we have seen it's called the app.component. And each component will have 4 files: the template and the class, and 2 extra, which is CSS and the spec.ts. The spec.ts we don't need to worry about. So basically it's 3 files. As you can see, the app.component has CSS, HTML, and TS file. That means here is the major module. And after that, we will have sub-modules, which is child module from our root module. Okay, we can have multiples. Then each child module can have more child modules. So eventually you will see a tree-like structure that's coming from the top, having the most basic module, and then it gets expanded through various levels of child modules. The good thing about these modules is that each module is self-contained. It has its own class, it has its own template, HTML template, and also the CSS file. So everything is packed into one small module. And also this module can be exported to be used by other modules. So in this case, we are reusing what we have developed, which is another good feature in general. Now come back to our folder structure. We have the major module, and we have created another module, right? But the missing part is we haven't connected 2 modules yet. So how do we connect that? If we see this app.component.html file, we have this button displayed, right? Which is the same as in our page. And in this case, what we need to do is to import the content of our navigation component we just created. And how do we import? Well, if we go back to this navigation bar component.html, I mean the TS file, we can see there is a add component parameters, basically listed 3 parameters. The first one is selector, the second one is template URL, the third one is style. So template and style is easy to guess, right? So you are basically referring to external HTML template file, external CSS file, and what about the selector app-nav-bar? This basically is the name of the reference you want to use when you are trying to refer to this component in other components. Okay, so let's copy this name and come back to our app.component.html, and we are gonna get a tag like this. So you can see we are not using HTML default tag, we are using the customized the tag we created for our components, and we'll put it into our app.component.html file. Okay, let's save that and come back to our homepage. And there we go, we see we have the nav-bar works content displayed. And of course, we can manipulate that as we want. Say we want to increase the font size as heading. So basically, that component is included in our main module. Okay, so this is how we connect different modules. We have the selector from our component. Within the selector, parameter, we can change the name as you want. But this name, since it's picked by the Angular CLI tool automatically, so I suggest you just keep it this way. And then we can refer to this as long as we have the export, class Nav Bar Component defined. And also we have defined in the app.module.ts file for this component, which is available to be used. And one side comment, why do we need to declare this in the app.module.ts? So basically this is about like dependency injection. We're basically telling the container of Angular 2 that we have created a new component, okay? And this nav component is called a Nav Bar Component, and we want to register the component. We want to sign this component up in our container so that when we need to use this, the container will give the component to us. All right. So that's pretty much for this lesson. We will continue in the next one. See you guys in the next video. Bye.